Hello again, everyone. Today we're going to talk about guilty pleasure games, games that you're afraid to admit that you like to other people. Um, I have a few to show you for an example. The first one is Two Worlds. It has really bad voice acting. The frame rate is awful, and it's to a point where it's on like a unique level of badness. Like it's so bad that it's like special bad, and you just can't help but love how bad it is. You know, it's like so good. It's like so bad that it's good. Uh,
Like for example, the terrible voice acting.
and the
Uh,
dialogue, like the really old English dialogue, like "Forsooth I thrust hey," it has like really embarrassing dialogue and
really bad voice acting to top it off, but the way everything is said out loud, it makes it sound hilarious, dude.
two. I even have the two disc collector's edition. I'm probably gonna hang on to it forever. Sometimes I think I sometimes I feel like selling it, but I don't know. I sometimes I also feel like going back to it. So it just I think I actually had more fun with this than Oblivion. So that's one. And the second one is Tenchu Z, also for Xbox 360, only for Xbox 360. You probably don't even know what Tenchu is. You probably never even heard of it until now. It's an action series that started on PS1. It's about you play as a ninja, and this was one of the very last ones they made, and I really liked it. I don't really understand why not many people liked it. It has a lot of customization to it. This time you can make your own ninja and customize him and how fast he runs and how strong his health is and stuff like that. And I thought it added a lot of depth to your character. And I don't know if I can get rid of it because I'm a fan of Tenchu and I really like this one. I there's not really many reasons. Sorry, that's my cell phone. There's not many reasons to hate it, in my opinion. I mean, there's not much of a story, and the game can get pretty repetitive, but overall, it was an enjoyable experience. And both this and Two Worlds, I was able to get all 1,000 gamer score from. So yeah. Now the third one, you've probably seen this on Pro Jared's YouTube channel, is Virtual Hide Lied on the Sega Saturn. Um, I grew up with this game, and that's probably the main reason why I like it is because of nostalgia alone. This game is awful. It is it's really bad. Like it's got like 5 frames per second constantly, and that it's not even like slowdown or loading either. Like that is the way the game runs. Like it's just that bad, and it has that whole like full motion video thing, where people like back in like the early to mid '90s, people tried implementing like the whole full movie, thing into games, and it just like failed miserably. Kind of like the Sega CD or the 3DO and stuff like that. The CDI, I think, and this is on the Sega Saturn, and the Sega Saturn itself had quite a few games where it tried doing the whole FMV thing and it failed. So yeah, those are just a few examples. I could point out a couple more like games I played recently, like Murdered Soul Suspect and XCOM Declassified. Both games I really loved, and I looked online and they didn't get that great reviews. Kind of average, not terrible reviews, but it mixed to average. Fives and sixes, even though I thought they deserved like eights. So yeah, it's kind of weird how how you enjoy something that most people don't. Now, it can happen the other way around, like guilty displeasure games, games that everyone else likes that you don't. And for me, that would probably be. Now, keep in mind, I don't hate this game. I like this game, but compared to the other two in the trilogy, I thought it was very weak in both story, narrative, uh, RPG elements, customization, and that game is Mass Effect 2.
You want me to get out the collector's edition?
I'll say no more. And I do have the collector's edition of both 2 and 3. I want the collector's edition of 1, but, you know, I it's really expensive. Anyway, what's another one? Oh, I played this recently. The Witcher 2. I played it for 5 hours. I thought the combat from the very beginning that I started The Witcher 2, I thought the combat system was absolute crap. This side of Bound by Flame. Like the movement was so like sloppy and like it felt like you were like sliding on mud. You know how when you play a game and the way you move is kind of like, you know, it's I don't feel the quality. How did this game get such good reviews? I mean, maybe it's better on PC, but I played it on the Xbox 360 version, and I think it's like god awful. I mean, it's not even open world. It's like chapter. It's like it has an open world map, but they're like each separated by chapters. And I already said this in my previous video, I think, but still, it's just a good example of a game that I hate that everyone else likes apparently. Or maybe not fans. Fans consider it the worst one, but they still liked it. Kind of like how I liked Mass Effect 2, even though I thought it was the worst one. Blech. So yeah, that's games that I have guilty pleasures and not so guilty pleasures for. I don't know if you feel the same way, Zach. I mean,
there may be a handful of games that I liked as a child, but I can't think of any right now off the top of my head. And however, overall, even though these games may not be very well liked by the gaming community in general,
they're liked by me. They're liked by me, okay, and that's all that matters. All I know is you. We used to play Urban Reign. Or no, you used to play Urban Reign on the PS2, and I used to watch you play it, and I didn't really like what I was seeing. I thought it was kind of like, a little mediocre, but you seemed to really enjoy it, and, I imagine that is kind of like a guilty pleasure of yours. It's a fun beat 'em up on the PS2. So, that's one of them, at least.
One other franchise that that I liked as a child and I kind of still like to this day is the Dino Crisis franchise,
yeah.
Which is supposedly like basically a rip-off, possibly of the Resident Evil franchise.
Well, it's not really a rip-off of Resident Evil because Capcom made it, so they kind of have every right to make it like Resident Evil. But yeah, it's like kind of like I wouldn't say a spiritual successor to Resident Evil because it's not as good as Resident Evil, but yeah, it's
the first one supposedly being the best one in the series because it's more horror instead of action, and Dino Crisis 2 being kind of the other way around.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like what Resident Evil is now, but
with obviously with a different story and different characters. Dino Crisis 3 came out a number of years later in like 2003, 2004 on the original Xbox, and it was god awful. To be honest, I've never personally owned an original Xbox myself, but
we never played it, so I
have
no idea.
But according to
I'd probably like it. I probably what you never know. I mean, you never know with these things. I mean, like fucking this got shit reviews right here. 10QZ got like fucking 3s and 4s, and I loved it. So who knows? But yeah, Dino Crisis 3 is generally considered.
It was generally hated by a lot of the gaming community, and it got god awful reviews. I've never played it myself, like he said, and I don't know if I will. But what I am kind of waiting on eventually is for another Dino Crisis game to come out and carry on the story of the first two before it.
Which will lead us to our third video. Stay tuned.
The Gamer Gods!
Guess who was behind Tenchu Z? That's right. I bet you can't hate this game now. And that's all you need to know.
Thank you for watching. If you like our videos and you wish to see more, then please subscribe. And we appreciate your support.